everyone, to another episode of the Adeptus podcast. My name's DK Diamantes. He's Carryout, and whoa! Bricky's back. Wow. But before we get into that, if you enjoyed today's episode and you maybe want to support the podcast, head over to patreon.com/Adeptus Ridiculous, where you get access to the Discord, bloopers if they happen. $15 tier gets you all of our posters in whatever digital format we offer them in. It's great. You should check it out. Patreon.com/Adeptus Ridiculous. And oh my God, the brick is back.
Oh,
how is the brick?
Who let the brick out?
Yeah. Put him back in.
Put him back in. Take him back to the EU. Hello. I mean, oh God, it's been so long. I think I should have to shill the merch is what I normally do. I go to orchid8.com, buy the merch, check out that stuff, all the usual. It's been, Kirioth is here too. Yay.
Yay, Kirioth. He's been holding down the fort.
He has been, even when I'm gone, even when I'm back, he's still here.
I had to welcome you back. You couldn't be back without me being here to welcome you home from the dark and twisted land that is the UK.
It's been, which is so ironic that you say such a thing like that, Kirioth, because that is somewhat what we're doing, isn't it?
Oh, we're doing an episode on the dark and twisted lands of the UK?
The foreshadowing was real.
Love it. Can't wait for the quote.
What a good, can't wait for the quote.
You got a license for that? There you go, that's the whole quote.
So, speaking of the Union Jack and Mini Coopers, I must say, today's episode, obviously, I just came back home yesterday. I got off of about an 11-hour flight in which I got home about the same time I left the same day because time zones are funny that way. And I stayed up so I could get back to and unjet lag myself. I still am a little bit jet lagged. I've been up I woke up at 5 a.m. But instead of a regular Warhammer topic today, we are discussing something a little bit more casual. DK, we're just going to talk about England.
Oh. Well, all right. That sounds good to me.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, no.
What?
They're going to be all over the shop, aren't they?
What?
Oh, goodness. You're really making a meal out of it, aren't you, DK?
Yeah.
Right, finally, I have a legitimate excuse to pull this out.
I can just be at work the whole time if you want.
True. So here's the thing, right? Warhammer is obviously a British, English property. It's been around. It started in Britain. It's been around for the entire time. It is, that is the property that it is. I remember the first time I learned that, I feel like my stars or my eyes lit up because I was like, oh, that's why all of them speak in an English accent. It's because it's a British property. That's why all the Imperials talk this way. Huh, how fascinating. But obviously that's what it is. And I have been in in England for about 2 weeks, was it? And we kind of had the idea that obviously I believe a majority of our viewers are from the US because we are a US based podcast. But there is still a large amount of them from the UK, England and other areas of the EU that are very, very familiar with, Warhammer in general, because that's where it is. And so I thought that it would be kind of funny if we did an episode where me, someone who has never been to England before, discuss how my trip was in England to those who have lived there their whole lives, and especially Kirioth here, to kind of compare and contrast bits of what I experienced and the usual type of thing.
I'm so here for it. I genuinely am, because it's one of those things where, I've lived here my entire life, so everything's normal. It's when you go somewhere new that's got familiar things, but a lot of really different things. That's where all the really interesting differences come from, I reckon.
I fully agree. So, DK, more than anything, I'm sorry, but I know that you won't have a ton to add in this particular situation.
Don't worry, I'll find something to add in.
That's kind of where I was going.
Don't worry,
with it.
buddy.
Yeah, I was kind of going with that. I was like, I'm sure he'll figure it out.
I'll figure something out. Jellied eels, am I right?
I didn't have any jellied eels.
Good thing.
I knew it was going to come up, but I wasn't sure how far in. Jellied eels is the other thing. Maybe that's the Great British meme, just jellied eels, which also I have had, and it's not good.
No, it didn't look very good. I didn't have any blood pudding either for the same reason.
Oh, no, that's all
no
right,
black
but-
sausage. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, some context. I'm filming a really big like Uber Warhammer video. It's extremely long. It's going to be 2 hours and 3 episodes that are all 2 hours each. I've hired a videographer to come with me and flew out to a ton of areas. I've met a ton of other Warhammer people, whether they are tabletop channels, lore channels, painting, etc. And that's why I was gone for so long. I saw like eBay Miniature Rescues. I saw Miniac, Ninjon, Goobertown Hobbies, all in the US. I went to Moist Critical, saw the Art of War guys for the tabletop side of things. And then in the UK, I visited a whole bunch of lore people and Warhammer World in Nottingham specifically, and also saw Tabletop Tactics and Vanguard Tactics also in the battle report type style of things. And this entire time, my compatriot, a guy named Dan, he's Dan's filmmaker straight out of Delco, Philadelphia. Yeah.
Hey.
Came along with me with about like an entire, I would say cart, but I guess it would be referred to as a trolley, full of filming gear, cameras, lights, C-stands, and so on, in which we then palled around many areas of England to go check it all out. I had been to, in total, the cities I've been to were Chippenham, Warminster, Churcham, Nottingham, London, and Brighton. The gayest place I've ever been and in my entire life, and it ruled. I absolutely loved Brighton. It was super neat. Okay, that's all aside. So that was what I was out there doing a bit. And obviously I'd never been out to Europe in general before. So it was the first time. It was kind of a trial by fire. Me and Dan, the filmmaker, neither of us ever have gone to the UK ever. Just being like, all right, here we go. Let's go filming. And
doing that amount of traveling as well when you've not been before is, when I say brave, I don't mean it in a like derogatory way. Getting around the UK can be interesting, but not necessarily in good ways. Like in theory, we have really good railways, but in practice, there's so many delays and cancellations and replacement bus services. Did you get put on a replacement bus service? Because you haven't completed the full scope unless you've got to a station and been told, oh yeah, no, that train's not coming. However, we do have this 40-year-old vehicle for you to ride in instead.
Oh.
So no, I never had that. But it's for a much worse reason. So I had 3 bags total. My Dan, the filmmaker, had like it was a trolley, like 2 C-stands, a long bag, like a light bag, and like 4 other bags worth of cameras, gear, and his own personal stuff. And so we couldn't take any trains when he was there where we were going, because it was genuinely like a meter long and maybe, I don't know, like a half a meter tall like trolley. It was
so like proper, like you would block the aisles, no one would be able to get anywhere.
Yes.
I see.
Like we had to carry it in the hotels very precariously because it was so big and extremely heavy. So when we got to London, we had to rent a van, and it always had to be a van specifically because that's one thing I noticed. The cars are definitely much smaller in England.
Yeah, that's something that I became very aware of not that long ago, where my car is quite a big car for the UK, and I'd made some sort of post or comment on social media because I've done stuff to it and I quite like it, and I made the comment that some of my friends refuse to even try and drive it because of how long it is, and the number of people from the US who were like, "What are you talking about? That is not a big car."
I did not see a single truck in my entire time in the UK.
Oh, that must have been so nice. No truck nuts anywhere.
No, but I mean, like, okay, that's not fair. I think I saw like 1 or 2 flatbeds for like construction sites. But that was it. Like, there were no trucks anywhere. The predominantly most seen vehicle of the entire trip was the Mini Cooper. But the thing is,
that
though,
makes sense.
Kira, do you know where Chippenham is?
Vaguely, yes. It's not.
Sounds like such a fake name.
Is it Chip? Yeah. Well, I called it.
You know what Chippenham is?
Well, I called it Chippenham a bunch of times, and they started getting mad at me. So, but it's like southwest, right?
Oh yeah, yes. Because Warminster isn't that far from Bath either, is it?
Correct.
No.
No, you're correct.
Yeah.
I also went to Warminster when I was out there. About like a 30-minute drive, give or take, from Chippenham.
Yeah.
And that was the first like week of my trip to the UK was Chippenham and Warminster. Let me tell you, Kirioth, I did not have a very good initial start with my thoughts on England. Okay.
Oh.
For context, DK, this is in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Oh no.
I was in the countryside in the sticks, bro.
Oh, in a country that you've never been to. Oh.
I mean, if
that
you've got
must have been
time.
so fun.
If you've got time to go for lovely walks and to investigate the sort of little local pubs that you only find in small places in the country where they have a particular beer or cider that you can't get anywhere else in the UK, it's nice. If you're trying to get stuff done or if you're for a specific purpose, not good. And the irony being, it's not that far from Bath, which is actually really nice.
Yes. That was the one thing I noticed was like, oh, Bath is actually quite pretty was what everyone kept telling me. But I was here in the middle of nowhere. And it was very difficult because I had to carry around all this gear with But like to explain how in the middle of nowhere this was, like I pulled out my phone to get an Uber. Now, an Uber is a very American thing. There are some elsewhere, obviously, but like it's predominantly used in the US. It's the main kind of mode for transportation for a lot of it because it's so car dependent. I could not get an Uber at all, ever.
Oh.
Like we're searching for a person in this area. It never came. Like there was none.
No, there's nothing. When you get to a certain point in the countryside, it's literally you either have a car or you have a relative with a car or you never leave the house. Those are your options. Pick one.
That was
So what did you end up doing?
So that's the wildest part, right? Is that there wasn't a train system or any railway I could use either because it's out of the middle of nowhere. So they said, I was talking with Tabletop Tactics at this point. And Lawrence Tabletop Tactics was like, go to your, I didn't even mention this, Kirioth, because I'm paying for all of Dan's travel. I had to skimp a little bit on some of our lodging. So the first week I stayed in travel lodges.
Oh no. That is proper baptism of fire going straight in with nothing but travel lodges. It's not the worst.
It's pretty bad, man.
It's also not great.
I'm not gonna lie. Like DK, this travel lodge is like it is a Days Inn. It is the lowest you can get.
No. Having been to some of the lowest of the low of like Days Inn in like downtown Detroit.
DK, they don't do 2 queen beds. That's not a thing in England. And so when we got like the family size room, it was a single double bed, which mind you, my feet hung off of because I'm 6'3", and 2 like cots. It's like 2 metal cots and the double bed. And it's
you get one big bed that isn't actually that big, and then you get 2 child-sized beds, and that's your lot every time.
I really like proper like fold out like cots.
Like it's a cot, yes.
Yeah,
like it is a cot, and I kept trying to ask Dan to flip flop with me. Like I'll do the double bed one night, and he does the other one, but he's also like 5'8" or something like that. So the cot worked out for him. So he was a real bro and just said, "No, I'll just do the cot the whole time." So even though I felt kind of bad about it, I do appreciate him for it. Even though he ruined my night's sleep with his cough he had the whole damn trip, but we'll get to that.
Oh no,
yeah, Dan.
But so when you go to the front desk, you have to ask for their taxi services because it's not getting a taxi. There are specific taxi services that are in these middle of nowhere areas. So I had to ask for like Like, they just gave me a piece of white paper with 3 phone numbers on it with, like, the name of the taxi services. And they're like, yeah, call one of these. And I'm like,
Oh,
Wow.
God.
what does that mean? And what do you mean just call one of these?
That's so crazy.
I'm loving this already. I'm
'Cause-
loving it.
'cause-
It's such a standard experience if you're traveling in the UK, especially if you're like going somewhere and you're just going to stay a couple of nights. You stay in a travel lodge, you accept that it's going to be bad. And if you want to get anywhere without taking your own car, you get the scrap of paper, the scrap of paper, and then you get a few phone numbers, and they're like, yeah, do it. And then that's it. That's your customer service. It's like, we've given you all the information. Sort it out yourself. What do you think we're here for?
That's so strange. Because in most American hotels I've been to, if you're like, oh yeah, I need a taxi, even at like some of the worst hotels, they're like, oh yeah, don't worry, we'll call them and they'll be waiting outside for you in X amount of time. Or like, we know the shuttle service, we got this, we'll call them, don't worry about it. And it's very strange. It's just like, yeah, basically more or less, here's a fucking phone book, right? That's weird to me. I don't know.
It's weird to me too, because I've grown up in this in the US, and that's what is considered normal for myself. Obviously, I consider it strange because I'm not used to it. I don't have any like. Also, because and this is so I want to make it clear. I thoroughly enjoyed my time in England. It started off poor. I will become more positive later, I promise. But it started off poor because it was a week in like the sticks. Without also like if I had known I was out there, I probably would have rented a car. But they drive on the other side of the road, and I
was
almost got hit twice because I looked the wrong direction while crossing a roundabout while walking.
Here's a question, because I've never really thought about this. How familiar are you with like roundabouts?
So
Loads in the US?
I knew you were going to
None?
mention that. So
I don't think I've seen a roundabout in my goddamn life.
that is I don't believe you, DK. We do have roundabouts, and I know you're being hyperbolic. That
I
being
am.
said, every single 4-way stop intersection that we have is a roundabout there. It is like
Oh no.
it is a roundabout into a roundabout into a roundabout. And don't get me wrong, it's efficient, and we should do it more in the States. But when I enter a roundabout on the opposite side of the road and start spinning clockwise, my brain like short circuits and I start to melt in the car. Like I'm just like, oh, I don't know, I don't like this. I'm closing my eyes.
That's fair.
I've got to show you something. This is my favorite picture to show just how insane our roundabouts can get. This is the Magic Roundabout in Swindon. And
I hate it.
Yeah, that's I never had anything like that.
that's an anomaly, to be fair. That doesn't crop that's not like a regular thing. But yeah, pretty much any busy junction, we just do a roundabout, or maybe 2, like one after the other, especially around motorways. But I just wasn't sure whether that was a regular thing for you guys or whether that was like, what the hell is this kind of thing.
Roundabouts.
Yeah, my brain is seizing up looking at that a little bit. I got to be honest with you.
Roundabouts are most definitely less common in the States. However, they're not there. Like I know that 95% of drivers can do a roundabout perfectly fine. But they are everywhere in the UK. And there are also just some small things that I think are a little bit interesting. Like, for example, like you call a trash can a bin. It's the car park, not a parking lot. The motorway instead of a freeway or a highway. The one that took me out the most, though, was way out. Like
Way out?
Oh.
Like, oh yeah, it's way out there?
no. That is their version of exit. Like a little sign that says way out and an arrow. Like this is the way out.
Right, like the video game.
Yeah, I can think of that every single time I saw it. But like there was some places that had exit on it, but most of the time it just said way out. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, what's way out there? What is way out?
That is a bit of a trip if that's the exit. Yeah.
I'd never even considered that as being like unusual. Like when you get into like city centers, especially bigger, more modern cities, it will say exit. But now that you've said that, quite a few things like around where I live, it doesn't say exit, it says way out. And I've never thought about it before. Because it just means that's how you leave.
Yeah.
But I've never once considered
It's
that
just
might
a way
be,
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was pretty wild. I didn't really think about that so much, but that makes sense. Okay, I have to talk. I have to do this because we have to talk about it. I have to talk about the food.
All right,
okay,
let's
here we
do
go.
it.
Right,
Yeah?
let's go.
No seasoning. They don't know what salt is. No pepper. No nothing. Right?
Okay, so my time in England has had me deny stereotypes, confirm stereotypes, and create new ones.
Oh.
Honestly, that sounds about right. Yeah.
Okay.
It's been rather interesting. So the first thing that we went to was the tabletop tactics guys took me to a pub. Now the tactics guys are I think they're mostly Londoners, and I love them for it because they're a bit shit talky, and they're very I wouldn't say crass, but they're definitely like. They're fun to be around. They're I would call them like loud or anything, but they're very enjoyable to like have a conversation with. They laugh loudly. I laugh loudly with them. We talk about like a bunch of stuff. It's a lot of like back and forth banter. I really enjoy that. I think I found out that I'm a bit of a city person, coming out and about, and that kind of goes into London later. They took me to a pub called the Pheasant. Now I decided to get a proper British meal, so I got ham, fried eggs, and chips.
Excellent.
There?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kirioth,
Sounds good.
Can you guess how good that meal was?
It's difficult because if it's in a chain pub, it'll be garbage. But if it's in an independent pub that's in like a small town or a village, it's probably amazing. There's like, it's one or the other, I find.
So I don't know if the Pheasant is a chain pub or not, but it may have been one of the worst meals I've ever had in my life.
Oh, no, you got a bad one.
Like when I say it's fried eggs, ham, and chips, like DK, I want you to picture this. It is like, it is ham that you would get from the supermarket. Nope, shy, no way.
That's too good looking,
Nope.
I think, for this meal.
You didn't get wait, hang on. Are we talking like thin sliced supermarket ham?
Not like deli. I found a picture. Hold on. This
I was
is
kind of hoping you were going to
nearly
be like, yeah, it looks like what you get from the plastic tub in like the lunch and meat section. Not even the deli.
No, not
Right.
that. Not that. This picture here is almost beat for beat identical to what I had.
That is a travesty. That is not on.
Let me make this very clear. Let me make this very clear. You notice no specks of anything on there was no seasoning on the eggs. There's no seasoning on the ham. There's no seasoning on the chips. I asked for some ketchup. I got the ketchup. It is so full of vinegar. There is not very sweet at all. I was like, I get it. It was one of my first proper meals in England, and I was like, they're all correct. This place sucks. I hate it. This is exactly. I knew it. I knew they were wrong. And then, that was the first meal, and I think they did this. I think they did this to mess with me because it was absolutely horrid.
Yeah, no, that's awful. That's the sort of thing where you get it and you immediately think, oh, so nothing they serve here is good.
Right.
Like, it's one of those meals.
So,
and the ketchup thing makes sense because every other country is like, God, I can't believe what those Americans are doing with their ketchup. It's so sweet. It's like sugar syrup. And I'm just like, what? It ain't that sweet, is it? And I'm assuming UK ketchup was quite the eye-opener.
It was quite the opposite. That being said, later, we went to a place called in Churcham, a local city. Went to this place called the Flemish Weaver, a pub that's been around since before the U.S. existed, 1725. Went in there, had a bacon and rabbit pie with mash, and it was one of the best fucking savory pies I've had in my entire life. It absolutely slammed. The mash was incredible. The gravy was rich and strong. The pie, it was like that little burnt flakes around the edges. It was like stellar, genuinely stellar. And that was what I think you were talking about earlier, Kirioth, where it depends on the pub. That Now, it was hilarious because I had to duck to get in the door because it was so small.
Yeah.
But that right there, I was like, holy hell. It was probably one of the best meals I had in my entire trip. Even when in the Netherlands and stuff like that. It was phenomenal.
That's honestly,
Actually, Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, if you can find a pub where you have to duck to get in, and at least one part of the inside you have to walk slightly hunched to not bash your head, 9 times out of 10 you're going to get phenomenal food out of it. I don't know why. I don't know what the correlation is there, but that's just how it seems to work a lot of the time.
No, that was genuinely like one of the best meals I had in my entire trip. That's when I started to be like, okay, maybe this is a stereotype. It's wrong. Maybe the food in the UK is pretty good. I just had like some bad stuff. I mean, I've had the food in the US can get bad. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah, it can be awful here.
It can be terrible. But me and DK do live in a very densely populated area of Southern California, which is known for its food.
So even here, there's crap places. So like,
yeah, but I won't lie. I don't even the crap places here. Like I would get better food at Yard House than I would at like that first pub probably would ever serve.
Oh, absolutely. That is the most depressing looking plate of food I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, no, that's the sort of thing that I have. This probably makes me sound like an absolute Karen. I have sent stuff back like that where it's showing up and I've just gone, "What is this? Can I have something else? Because you've bought this in and that in. Why are the chips cold? Why is that egg made of rubber?" No, and just got something else instead.
Yeah, don't think that makes you a Karen. I think that just means you have standards.
So like this,
you don't send stuff back in the UK though. You just what you do is you go, "Thank you very much." You eat all of it. They come and take the plates. They say, "How was it?" And you go, "Oh, it's very nice."
And then you never come back.
Yeah, then you pay and you never go back. That's how this country works.
I'm about to make some enemies. All right. I'm about to, because like I said, I'm going to be positive the more as I continue. We're already doing the part where I'm saying that the all British food is bad as a myth.
Go on, let's hear it.
But it kind of is kind of a meme, but go ahead.
It is kind of a meme. I gotta say something that is going to make me a lot of British enemies, or English enemies. Okay, Greggs sucks. Greggs is fucking terrible, dude. Greggs is awful.
What's Greggs? I'm left out of the joke.
Greggs is like their AM PM type place.
Oh, okay.
It's a bakery. You can get like pasties and pies and bakes and sausage rolls and bread and sandwiches and like it's just a sort of all-purpose bakery, but people love them some Greggs because you can go in and get a very cheap sausage roll. In fact, right there in that picture, sausage roll, 50p. That's really cheap. There's a reason it's really cheap.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that.
See, that's the problem though, is like if people told me like, yeah, Greggs isn't good, but it's really cheap, I would accept it. I have the exact same bias when it comes to In-N-Out. In-N-Out is fast food. It's a fast food burger. It's not gourmet. But a double fries and a drink is like $10. And a Big Mac meal is like $14 or something like that at this point.
Yeah.
Like that's where my patriotism comes from In-N-Out, because it's about the price. I totally would agree with that with Greggs if people didn't keep saying the same thing to me, which is, well, what did you have at Greggs? What did you have there?
Yeah. I feel like somehow Greggs has kind of transcended the normal standards for food, and it's become basically a national meme where it's just there's a Greggs in every single town, city. I mean, in my town is quite small. Where I live, it's not a big place. There are 2 Greggs, and they are within like 30 seconds walking distance of each other. I don't know why, but for some reason, they've both been there for like 10 years, so clearly it works. It's just this thing of it's cheap, it's available, and anytime someone moves out of the UK, they get this weird craving where they really want Greggs. They really want the salty, sort of sodium-filled, okay pastry-covered treats that Greggs sells, and that's just been translated into Greggs is an international powerhouse of flavor, when actually it's just semi-okay food at very cheap prices.
You know what this reminds me of?
What does this remind you of?
Of Little Caesars.
Okay,
Like,
Little Caesars is
whenever-
better than Greggs, but sure. Continue.
Whenever you talk to someone about Little Caesars, it's like, oh yeah, their pizza must be really good, right? And the response is always, well, it's hot and it's ready and it's $5. And it's like, I didn't ask that. I asked, was it good?
I can feed a small family off Little Caesars for like $10. Greggs, I'm not so sure about.
It's so funny you say that, DK, because there's a food podcast that I used to listen to who went to Little Caesars, and their exact sort of summing up as to the quality of it was, yeah, but it was cheap and it was hot.
Yeah. It's hot and ready. Cool. Did it taste good? My brother in Christ, you didn't hear me. It's hot and it's ready and it's $5. But did it taste good? It's hot and it's ready.
I got 4 things. I got coffee, I got a donut, I got a sausage roll, and I got a BAP. Now
good spread.
Now
BAP?
A BAP. I'll show you what a BAP is, DK, in a moment. So the sausage roll was the best. It's not like great, but it's flaky. And I'm not gonna lie, the UK mogs us when it comes to bread. And then I gotta say, then I was in the Netherlands, and the EU mogs the UK when it comes to bread. The Dutch know their bread. And the UK definitely kicks our ass when it comes to bread. The bread over in the UK was fantastic. It was very, very good. And it wasn't quite as good as the EU, but we are definitely last place in bread right now. I'm not going to lie.
Ouch.
And so all of the pastries and stuff were really good. So the sausage roll was like decent. The coffee was absolutely terrible. Genuinely horrendous. The donut was sweet.
I've got to ask, sorry. Did you find the coffee slightly acidic?
Yes.
Because that's what okay.
Slightly might be a little too light of a word, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, every time I've stopped at a service station and got like a Greggs coffee, I have taken approximately 2 sips and gone, why did I get this? And then felt sad because there's a Costa or a Starbucks right there. But instead I've been like, no, just Greggs is closer. I'll get that. And it's never good. It's never good coffee.
That being said, the first thing I had was the BAP. DK, this is what a BAP looks like, and this is prettier than what I got. It is just bun, sausages, and like 2 slices of bacon. And this is
I don't like that picture because it looks like it's staring at me. Like, it looks like the sausages are eyes, and like the crinkly bacon is like it looks like it's judging me. This sandwich perceives me, and I don't like it.
It's something quite fancy and interesting because as I had the BAP, and this is something that I found fascinating. So in the US, service workers are extremely nice compared to everywhere else I was at, overly kind at times. And the reason for this is obviously tipping culture and things like that, which has its own issues, of course. But I will say the thing I found particularly fascinating about England is that they weren't like rude, but like every person I worked with at a service, any kind of service person, whether it's like a hotel lobby, like a receptionist or a person at a food place, they just like didn't give a shit. Like, it's not that they weren't rude, they weren't mean, they weren't like annoying, they just didn't care. And like I went to some places and I was like, oh, do you have this? And they were just like, no. Like not like that, not rude, just no. Like not, oh no, but we do have this instead. Just no. It was very interesting.
Oh God. I'm sorry, the last like 10 seconds of that, my audio is just me laughing. I don't mean not in a mean way. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But it's just one of the most fascinating things is you saying that, and not 2 weeks ago, a friend of mine went to the US and said that the kind of service staff being so friendly and helpful actively made her irritated. Like we're so conditioned to just be like, here's the thing. Have you got this? No. All right.
So the U.S. service staff annoys me too sometimes, but normally they come to like check up on you if your food is okay, like 5 times during the meal. And I'm like, yes, if it's a problem, I'll tell you if it's a problem. I'm trying to eat here. Like that's the thing that bugs me the most. General, like, and don't get me wrong, like fast food workers in the U.S. are often the same as England, if not worse at times. Quite rude because they're working a job that they don't like.
I was going to say severely underpaid, working hours they don't want, still can't afford rent. Yeah.
The classic thing.
Jesus Christ, Shy. Absolutely.
Ma'am, I just want a burger. Yeah. Please take your tongue out of my ass. I'm not sure if I agree with this one, Shy. If the burger comes with a free ass tongue, and maybe I'll join this.
I mean, that's one way to get a bigger tip, right?
My tip's getting bigger. Don't you worry.
I was gonna say just
the wording.
No, it's getting worse.
But yeah. So that was the one thing I really noticed. Like it's not like I don't have an issue with it. Like if they're gonna that's fine. They don't need to like carry me around or anything like that. But it was just very interesting to see the difference. And one of my favorite ones was when I was at the Greg's, and I was the guy was like, "You want any sauce with the BAP?" And I'm like, "What sauce do you have?" And he's like, "We got ketchup and brown." And in my head, I was like, "What the fuck is brown?" And I was like, "What's brown sauce?" And he's like, "It's brown sauce, mate." And like,
I would have assumed gravy, just straight plain ass gravy.
So I was like, "All right, I'll take the brown sauce." And he's like, "Cheers." And he put it on the thing and he gave it to me. And it's like a sweet barbecue, like Worcestershire sauce type thing.
Okay.
It was actually quite good. I actually like brown sauce quite a bit.
It is impossible to actually describe outside of just kind of it sort of tastes like this, but not quite. And it's really weird how it's become like a cultural institution where it's just, what do you mean you don't know what brown sauce is? It's like, well, it doesn't tell me anything. Tomato ketchup, it says tomato on it. I can guess, brown sauce, it's brown. What does that mean?
Just
put it on your thing.
It's just the fact that he was like, "It's brown sauce, mate." And I'm like, do I sound like I'm from here, mate? Like,
if you had responded just like that, "Excuse me, do I sound like I am from here, mate?"
Yeah, he probably would have thrown the BAP in my face.
All right, that's fine. Here's what's in the brown sauce. It's a mix of Worcestershire sauce and barbecue.
Yeah. It's just it was just really funny to me because I was like, "That doesn't tell me anything, man. What do you want from me?" Like I'm like, but no, that was quite funny. I will say, and it's very interesting because I went around a little bit for the food wise, and obviously, like I said, the first week I was in those areas, and my opinion of the UK was not high. And then me and Dan took a van with all of our stuff to Nottingham. Right, we finally went to Nottingham. And it was like a 3-hour drive because here's an interesting thing they don't really tell you. While the roads are smaller in the UK, they don't slow down. Like people ripped around these roundabouts, man. They are hoofing it. But it's also you're going from Chippenham to Nottingham, are you? Okay, cool. You get to ride on the single like cobblestone road. Out of the farmland for an hour before you finally get to the motorway.
There are so many places in the UK where to get to or from, you are basically on a road that is only slightly wider than your car, but the speed limit is 60 miles an hour.
Yes.
So you can, if you want, legally go 60 miles an hour on this track that probably was made for horses and carts, 500 years ago, but they just put tarmac over it and went, yeah, you'd be good. And it's simultaneously very fun if you're used to it and you're going through places you know about. And if you're going through places you don't know about, kind of terrifying because you might take it slow, but the locals absolutely won't.
When I did make it to Nottingham, I got there on a Saturday after like 3 hours of driving, and I went to like the city center area, like where they have like the 5 lanes kind of converge, like the little downtown area. And let me paint you a picture. We get there like 11 a.m., give or take. It's a Saturday. We put all of our stuff in our hotel, do the usual thing that we're doing after like a 3-hour-long van ride with all of our gear. We basically have a free day to ourselves. We walk into the city center area, and it's a proper city. You know, it's not London, but it's a proper city. A little bit more healthier, whatever the reasons is. But I was walking around, and there were some pretty darn good-looking people. I was like, damn, I'm like surrounded by a lot of pretty decent-looking folks. And then I went to like the Netherlands, and then I was like, holy Christ, the Dutch are fucking beautiful. But
building up slowly to peak beauty.
So, but then I was going to this like bar, and there's this group of like 4 gals, gorgeous like blondes, like the classic model type look. And sitting right next to them was this big motherfucker, shirt completely off, bald, red as shit, tattoos all over his body, missing a tooth with the biggest beard I've ever seen in my entire life, talking about the football game. And I pointed, and I was like, holy shit, it's the Brexit geezer. He's real. I cannot believe it. He's like the come on England, score some fucking goals guy. He was there. It was him. I found him. He was like a Pokemon in the wild. And I had like a genuine soy jack pointing moment to Dan, and I was like, holy hell, it's the guy.
He's real.
He's
He
real.
found Santa Claus.
He's in front of my eyes.
It was insane. and then because he had like 3 emptied pints of beer at like 11 in the morning on Saturday. And I sat there and I looked to Dan, and I was like, we're actually in a real city. Let's go. And then we drank until like 9 p.m. And
yeah, that sounds about. I mean, you're entering into the spirit of things with that. We've made. I swear, the UK has made drinking into a national sport, where it's just okay. We've got a lazy Saturday. You go to the pub at 11. You start drinking, and then at 1 a.m. you either pass out or die. Those are the 2 options. Either way, you'll have consumed a lot in the meantime.
I was actually really surprised how like open excessive public drunkenness was. Like people were actually falling over and spilling their beers just around the place.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's wild. It
happened a lot.
Yeah, anyone who's got the strength to be sober in a major city in this country they've got infinite respect from me. Because a huge amount of, like, especially weekend culture is, well, you go out on Friday, you get absolutely wasted, you see if you can hook up. Then on Saturday, you go out, you get absolutely wasted. Sunday is spent regretting your decisions. Then you have a nice drink because you got to go back to work on Monday. Then you work Monday to Friday. And then on Friday, you go out and you get annihilated.
Like, okay, so I'm not going to lie. Maybe this is like a Brexit issue or whatever. I don't know how this happened. Things were expensive in England. Stuff. And I mean, this is coming from me, who's lived his whole life in California, which is known for being expensive. I was quite surprised by it.
That's why we drink PBR.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. You get a 24-pack of that for $5. That'll get you done right.
Yes, sir.
We don't even get a PBR. We get like Tesco's own value lager. It's like £8 for 20 cans. I don't even know if they do it anymore. They probably don't.
I did have a Tesco meal deal.
Okay, all right, okay.
I've heard of this.
No. This do not worry. This is the similar but somewhat opposite thing to Greg's. It is better tasting than Greg's and like the same price, if not somewhat cheaper. Like that was my quick. I gotta get something in maybe right now because I'm working. And for me, that I was like, okay, this is perfectly fine. This makes sense for the cost that it is. I'm all right with this.
Nice.
Did you go Did you max it out? Did you min-max your meal deal?
No,
Because
I did
the
not.
min-maxing, there's a whole economy behind this.
Okay, well, I didn't get that far into it.
And why didn't you ask Carryout how to min-max your Tesco meal deal?
I've done this before where I've looked at what's available and gone, okay, well, the sausage, bacon, and egg is the same price. The triple used to be the same price as just 2 sandwiches. And then if you get an energy drink like a large Red Bull and, say, a chocolate bar, that is better value than if you bought all the things individually. It's just, there's literally subreddits dedicated to this. It's that, I don't know, pervasive, insane.
I mean, considering what we just said about prices and how everything's skyrocketing, I have no problem with trying to get max value out of your meal deal at Tesco. Like, that makes sense that people would be that high on it. Because if you're spending upwards of $300 on, like, alcohol because prices are just so insane, yeah, you know what? I'm okay with, like, being as thrifty as you can at the meal deal.
Yeah.
No,
there was a point where, I think it was Boots, where you could get a tin of travel sweets, which I don't know if that's just a UK thing, but it's an actual, like, metal tin full of sweets that are flavored with like apple and pineapple and blackberry and stuff. And if you looked at it calorie for calorie, your best bet was to get a triple sandwich, a tin of travel sweets, and a large can of Red Bull, and you could achieve like it was something like 4,000 calories for £4.
Whoa.
Excellent. See, that's the kind of stuff I'm looking for. Maxing
You'd
out
also
that.
die of a heart attack at like 30, but you know, you could pull it off.
Nottingham, though, was actually really lovely. I thoroughly enjoyed my time in Nottingham. I went to Warhammer World. I actually got shown around a little bit by a couple of Games Workshop employees who I will not name for their own anonymity's sake.
Sure.
But they were extremely kind. It felt really good. Turns out we do have a few pretty a sizable amount of fans.
I was about to ask,
games.
did anybody notice you? Like, because like,
okay,
people know your face. They've seen you on the internet. You're the Warhammer guy everybody reacts to, right? Like,
okay, so that's hilarious you say that. So I meant actually fans, as in, it seems like we have quite a few people that work at Games Workshop that like Adbrick specifically. Not too much, but like, you know, there was apparently some folks that like the podcast, which I'm really stoked by. Obviously, Games Workshop employees like 3,000 people. You know,
sure.
It's a, you know, it's not like the CEO is like, oh, I can't wait for the next episode of Adbrick.
It'd be great if he did say that. Though.
It'd be great if he did say that, though.
If you're listening,
that you know of. That you know of.
True.
He wouldn't come down and announce it. He could be on the edge of his seat. You don't know.
It was very, very sweet. Though, hearing some of that, hilariously, I did get recognized a few times in Nottingham, and none of it was at Warhammer World. It was at local pubs.
Well,
which is that not the most English thing I could have ever experienced?
Yeah, that sounds about right? That tracks, because that's where, you know, the everyday people are always hanging out. So if you're gonna get recognized anywhere, right?
It was so funny, but no, Warhammer was fun. It was it was a little bit more lighter than I expected. The Carryout, the pub was closed for renovation. So
that sucks.
I only got to see like the store and all of the dioramas and stuff, which, don't get me wrong, the painting dioramas are super sick. That was awesome. But I don't think I would ever have a reason to go back to Warhammer World unless I was going to drink at the pub. I will say, they do have those like full 3D like hardboard game spaces. Sorry, how do you describe this? Like when you play Warhammer, you normally like roll out a mat and put terrain on it. This is like the size of the mat, but like actual built up hills and buildings and various things like that. Like it looks like a real space. They had a bunch of those, which were super sick. I loved that.
Those are some of the best things to like play on. The fact they're properly sculpted and you've got actual like valleys and rivers, and they're really, really good.
Oh, so
that's crazy. Is that one of the things?
That's a funny one. So I forget the name of it, But yes, that is a gigantic, like it's the size of a car, like that entire thing. It's like about the size of a sedan. They do a thing where they hide an Imperial assassin in that diorama. And if you can find it, you get a free assassin, and they change it every week. I was like, you know what? I could try that. I opened the door to the second story that has that area, looked down, and was like, nah, not worth my time. not gonna do it.
That's still a really cool thing to do in that diorama. That actually sounds like a really fun activity. Even if you don't find it, just to like go in there and see this, like the car-sized diorama of all this stuff, I'd still go check it out.
It was awesome. It was genuine. Yeah. That stuff was really awesome. Like, I probably wouldn't go do the whole diorama thing again because once you see it, you've seen it in a way.
Yeah.
But Warhammer World itself was just it was just like a nice little time. I would definitely recommend people go there if they like Warhammer. They want to see all the cool minis and stuff. But yeah, it was fun. It was decent.
It's worth saying they do switch stuff out. So like they will periodically change things in the display cabinets and stuff, and they've added things to that big like diorama since it first started. So things like the Warlord. There was no Warlord model when that was first made, but they added one in. So there's just little changes that go on. It's maybe not worth going like every month on like a pilgrimage, but if you haven't been for a while, there'll be things in there that you haven't seen before that can make it interesting.
Even though the pub was closed when you went there, do they have like Warhammer themed like food and drink? Because they really should.
I don't know. The pub was closed.
Yes, everything on the menu. Last time I was there, before it was closed for renovation, everything on the menu had a like Warhammer 40k or AOS themed name for whatever the dish was. But
nice.
I'll be honest, I very rarely ordered using the name. I was just like, yes, I shall have the burger with bacon, please. And that's also fine.
You're no fun.
I actually had the burger with bacon. It was actually pretty decent. The hot dog that they also had there. My Dan was from I mean he's from Philly, and he's like, that hot dog was fucking terrible. And I was like,
You're from Philly, like
it's fine. It was funny. So Nottingham was pretty fun. It was really enjoyable to actually be back in a city where I can take the trolley and or the tram or whatever and get some stuff. And I met with a lot of people. I met up with Luton. I met up with the Remembrancer as well as a couple other lore folks. I got to hang out with Luis and Rob from Rogue Hobbies.
I'm jealous of you
because that was great.
Louise is one of my favorite people. Her channel is amazing, and I had the opportunity to meet her once, and I chickened out because there were loads of other people around, and I didn't want to be all fanboyish. And I was like, oh, now I've got to leave. I should go and say it now. And then I left. And then I've not had the opportunity to meet her since. And then I saw the picture you posted and I was like, damn it. I should have said hello. Why?
Yeah, she was a sweetheart. She was really, really nice. Definitely a really fun experience overall, just seeing them all. It was great meeting the Remembrancer as well. Him and the Lore Crimes folks are really, really neat. They're also like, I mean, I won't lie. I felt pretty good meeting them because, him and like I also got a chance to meet Amber King as well. And they're like, I don't think anyone understands Warhammer lore better than they do because they've read every single book. Mm-hmm. Like I think they've missed like 5 or 6 because they're finishing them up now, but they're about to finish them all. And getting the thumbs up from them felt really good because I was like, nice. Yay, like we're the goofy doofy podcast, but getting the thumbs up from them felt great.
Hell yeah. Let's go. That is cool.
It was pretty good. That was lovely. And no, they were all great to talk to, and it was good for the work stuff too, because we got to interview a lot of them and talk about things. I met one of the Black Library authors as well, which I might I might have us change to a different book for our I'm meeting too many Black Library people. Well, we're not gonna be able to talk about books anymore because we can't be fully critical and honest because I don't want to hurt their feelings.
You're too biased. You're too close.
There might
You're
be
lost in the sauce.
There might be one book I would like to read though, possibly, because I
Okay.
didn't hear about some of them. It might be fun.
Yeah.
But Nottingham was good. Then eventually, after a couple of days in Nottingham, that was when Dan left and went back home, and I stayed for about another week over in London. And that's when I went down to Brighton and I did a few other things. I got to be honest, this might be a hot take. I really liked London. I liked it a lot.
Why would that be a hot take?
Because I feel like
London,
I feel like London is a lot like LA or San Francisco, where everyone else around California like shits on LA and SF, and everyone in the UK seems like they kind of shit on London.
London gets some heat because that's where all the money goes, basically. But it's also quite a cool place. And despite, various headlines and reports and stuff, it's just quite a nice city and there's loads to do and it is expensive, but yeah, you can't be bored in London. You can be there for like 2 weeks and there's still things to do. It's actually quite a nice place.
I didn't see a single touristy place. Well, besides one. I didn't see Big Ben. I didn't see any of those fancy things. I didn't much care. It's not really like something I'm interested in. And I was spending my whole time there. I stayed in East London, kind of in like the more Indian-centric district by the XL, because I went to the con. I went to the MCM Comic-Con, which was wild. The amount of cosplay there was insane. There were so many people cosplaying there. It was crazy. But it was a really good con, good location. But I went to like Canary Wharf and the O2 Stadium. I went to Covent Gardens. I went to Camden Market. I went to Piccadilly. I went out a decent way around London, and I have become so public transit radicalized, which is like not a radical thing at all. But
no,
the ability to get around that city and get to other areas in the trains and the trams and the tube and the metro. Holy shit.
It's great, isn't it? It's so good.
I don't think they realize how good they have it. Or maybe it's just how rough it is for us because we don't have it. Like, I did not order an Uber. I did not get a taxi my entire time in London. I did everything via there. Like, actually insane how good it was. It was like, the London tube was like dirty. Don't get me wrong. But so is the New York subway and other metros, like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I will say the Elizabeth line they just added though, pristine, gorgeous.
Oh, it's so clean.
Oh, it's so nice. Because I spent most of my time either on DLR or the Elizabeth line because I was so east, and DLR is whatever. But like the Elizabeth line was so nice. But then occasionally it would bump me onto the Northern line. The Northern line is a piece of shit. But more particularly, it's so loud. When you travel on it, it scrapes so insanely loud sometimes that it set off it set off my Apple Watch for decibel levels.
Wow,
Yeah.
Really? Did it actually?
It's like it's loud,
so loud.
Like it is not painful, but it's getting close, like slight flinch loud. It is fucking loud.
Yeah, it's like you need noise-canceling headphones loud. It's bad.
Yeah.
But then again, it's also really, really old. I have a question, though. How many rats did you see?
0.
Whilst on the platform?
0. None.
Really, 0?
Not a single one.
Hey, that's pretty good. That's all right.
What a question.
No. And of course, in London, like the food in London was great because it's a giant city, and that tends to be good food. I did go to a Chippies. Fish and chips.
What's the Chippies?
Fish and chips, like hole in the wall.
Ah, okay.
I hate to say it. It is not like the fish and chips is fine. Y'all love your malt vinegar a lot.
Well, that's
the classic condiment for fish and chips, right? Is malt vinegar.
I was thinking more like tartar sauce, but
Really? Because tartar sauce, but I always thought you were supposed to have malt vinegar with fish and chips. Like that was just
you do.
gotta. That's
You do.
classic.
But
Yeah.
I will say a couple of places I went to, they had like homemade tartar sauce, and that slammed. That was so good.
Oh yeah.
The best fish and chips I've ever had was actually when I saw Goobertown Hobbies in Maine. But if there's gonna be a place that has amazing fish and chips, I think Maine is pretty good.
Yeah.
It needs to be coastal.
Yeah.
This is the thing that trips a lot of people up, where it's like, well, I'm in a major city, I'll have fish and chips. And it's like, well, okay, but
guess where
where's
they
the
got the
city?
fish from?
Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to be somewhere. The best fish and chips come from some random, like, just a place about a mile away from the shore where there's like two people sitting there. That's where the best ones come from.
Yeah, that was pretty good though. I did enjoy that.
Yeah.
Your plugs absolutely beat our ass.
I was just about to ask.
Yes, they're
2-prong or 3-prong plugs, which are better?
we do have 3-prong plugs here, but yours are like built into the wall in a different way that makes them substantially better. Oh,
What makes the plugs better exactly?
They're just like more secure. They're more stable.
Yeah, we've got like a live and a ground as well. So if you pull it out, if you pull it out and touch one of the prongs, it won't electrocute you because the ground is further in than the other two.
Right. Okay.
It's a whole safety thing. Something I was going to ask. There's no reason as to why you'd have this, but I just have to ask.
Sure.
Did you at any point have a Wigan kebab?
Yes, I did actually.
You did have a Wigan kebab.
Yes.
Hell yes.
Yes. Is
Yes.
that just a kebab or from a specific place?
It's a pie and a bun. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I did.
What the fuck is that?
I was told to get one. It's a pie and a bun. This is their version of the KFC donut sandwich. I did.
I love that you had a Wigan kebab. I'm so happy.
I have to say, Kirioth, it didn't need the bun. The pie was fine. I don't know why we had the bun.
That's shocking. Of course it doesn't need the bun.
I didn't understand what the bun was there for. I was like, is it because the pie is too hot to hold to bite like a sandwich? Like, I don't know why there was a bun.
It's literally just, here's some carbs. Would you like to wrap it in carbs?
Yeah, it's already like a puff pastry. I don't know why we needed it. It caught me off guard.
God.
Also, Shai says, "Don't berate UK for its food, Mr. Deep Fried Butter."
No. I
would never.
I've been enlightened. We can't judge a place off of its worst food options. I judge the ham and the eggs and the chips, and it's not indicative. I am now the enlightened food connoisseur. I disagree.
Did you have a curry at any point whilst you were here?
Oh, yes. Okay. I will say it's time for me to berate your food again. I did not have a single spicy item in the entirety of my trip in the UK. Everything that said it was spicy was not spicy in the slightest until I had an Indian curry in which it was kind of spicy. And it was very good.
Can you remember which curry it was?
No. I had it when I visited Strippin and Dodger, and they had the curry, and it was a little spicy, but it was pretty good.
It's genuinely difficult to get spicy food out of like places that are run by people not from the UK. Like I don't know how else to phrase it, but it's just like, you say you want spicy, but my sheets are less pale than you, so you clearly can't handle it, which is totally fine. Justifiable. I totally get it. But it's honestly quite hard to get proper spicy food out of some places because they take one look and go, you can't deal with this. There's a place literally 2 minutes walk from me where it was maybe after 5 years of ordering curries from them where I was like, I mean, can you put a bit more spice in it? And he went, for you? Yes. And then it became spicy. It was just like, you can't handle this, you You pale
knob.
English prick. Get out of here.
Wow. And it only took half a decade of trust with this curry shop owner.
Genuinely did. It was like,
Jesus.
no, seriously, dude, please. I just a little bit more. And he's like, okay, now you've passed the test. You really want it. Let's go.
The opinion of Americans was rather fascinating, I must admit.
Oh, yeah, because you traveled internationally at a very strange time.
I did. Correct.
I didn't even think about that.
Well,
yeah, no, it's taken until now for me to be like, oh, yeah.
No, for the most part, it wasn't. It was less about that. It was a lot more about mannerisms and attitudes. Because like often, you would say like cheers or something like that. That's like your thing. I say I have like 19 different things I say. I either do like the classic thank you, or appreciate you, or like thanks man, thanks brother, whatever it is. Kind of like just the various things like that.
Mhm.
And most of the people I spoke to, now granted they were talking to me to my face, maybe they just didn't want to be rude, were very like they were often like, Americans are really, really nice. I've never met a mean American while they're here, which I was a little surprised to hear.
Yeah.
But like I think it's just because the overly friendly kind of aspect of it all maybe puts it in that interesting way, or maybe tourists in certain areas are just like not really wanting to piss people off, so they're just kind of like not rude. It was rather interesting. I mean, they had so many questions about California.
Really? Specifically California?
Well, they asked me where I'm from.
Because you're from there.
Yeah,
right,
like they asked me if I'm American. I'm like, yeah, California. And they asked me like a ton of questions about it all the time, and it was like fine. I didn't really mind it, but I was kind of surprised how often it happened. I kind of assumed people would know that I'm from America pretty quickly, so I don't know.
Yeah.
It was kind of, I was a little bit surprised. I kind of like it felt kind of weird, not like in a bad way, but just like I'm surprised they gave a shit. Especially considering how every other worker in England didn't give a shit like about anything ever.
Mm.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know. I feel like for some reason California is one of those states that's got a bit of like mythology behind it, but I couldn't really tell you why.
Hollywood, maybe?
It's like it stands out. Yeah, it's probably. I feel like California and Texas are the two ones where it's like, oh, this isn't just US, it's different US.
That is true.
Well, those are like the big US cities. Like if you're in like New York, Texas, but if you're like, oh yeah, hey everyone, I'm from Des Moines. How many questions are you really going to get about it? Like, hey, I'm from Des Moines, Iowa, and it's like, oh,
I guess
I don't
know.
It's so alien from the only time I've been to the US, where when I was a kid, my parents went, "We're going to go to Maine."
Okay, I'm not gonna lie.
Not bad place to visit, but like, really?
I'm not gonna lie. I went to Portland, Maine, and it banged. I really liked Portland, Maine. It was sick.
We did not go to Portland.
Oh,
I don't know. I don't really know where we went because I was like 10 years old, and they were just like, "We're going to go to the US," and I was like, "Oh, that's awesome!" And they went, "We're going to Maine," and I went, Where is that? I've never heard of that place in my life.
To wrap this up, because we've been talking for a bit, England, it ain't bad. It has the middle of nowhere places that were totally shit that I didn't like. But that's just a middle of nowhere in general. That's like a worldwide thing.
Yeah.
Nottingham was pretty sick. Okay. One thing. So stereotypes that I have crushed. The food is terrible. Not technically true. Like the average I'd say is lower, just in general. But if you look for it, you can find fantastic stuff. So that's a myth busted. Second myth busted. I guess there's like a myth that like English women are not like attractive or something like that. That's a total myth.
Oh, bullshit.
Yeah, that's bullshit. There was some definite very attractive people in the England. Gigantic fat football dudes, myth confirmed. Absolutely true.
Oh yeah, 100%.
100%.
No getting away from it.
Come on, England, score some fucking goals.
Yeah, 100% real. 100% real. Lots of like public transit type stuff. It's actually really, really good. Love it. Thumbs up on that. I have to state this one thing. I don't know if this is a good or a bad thing. I'm genuinely unsure. Your homeless, Kirioth, are bold. The homeless will chase you the fuck down with a card reader asking you for money.
Wait, with a card reader? For real?
That's a little hyperbole there.
Oh, okay. I was like, wow.
They are like doing the spare change, mister. And if you like don't speak to them and you walk past them, they will like yell at you. It was wild.
That honestly, again, like the last like 30 seconds is just me losing my shit, because I mentioned earlier I went to a local shop. There was a guy outside in a sleeping bag, and I'm like, terrible circumstances. I hope they find their way back to having a home.
Mm-hmm.
But as I walked out, he went, "You've got a fucking trolley, mate. Spare us some change." And I was like, "I didn't pay with cash. I don't have any cash." And he went, "Bullshit," and then started to stand up. So 100%, yes, you are correct. I don't know.
Like the first guy I got in Nottingham, he was like, he did that thing to me, and you know, me and Dan, we're from cities. We just like ignored him and kept walking because that's what you normally do. And the dude just like yelled at us, and he was like, "We don't all we're not all on good times, you know." And I'm like, I was like, "What the like? Fuck you! The hell are you mean? I don't know who you are. I'm from the U.S. I don't have any cash. I don't have any pounds. I don't have any quid." It caught me so off guard. Like normally this kind of be about their day. Really enjoyable time in England. If I were to go back, I would most likely go back to Brighton or London, probably. Though I've been told to go to Scotland. I've been told quite often that Scotland is absolutely phenomenal and a great place to be.
I've heard that too. Yeah.
So Edinburgh is fantastic.
Yes.
The one, but it's brilliant. There's so many amazing things to see.
Hell yeah.
Everyone is lovely. It's so good.
Over there. All right. I think that's where we're going to call it.
Okay, sounds like you had a busy, productive trip.
I have so many opinions on the Netherlands now as well. That's a whole other
next week episode. We need to find
the Netherlands.
To confirm or deny.
Yes, we need to find some people in the Dutch who nearly kicked us out of a casino for being too loud.
Oh no!
Yeah,
No.
The Dutch nearly kicked.
It's the worst stereotype. You can't be being too loud as someone from the US. Like
I was playing high roller blackjack, and I'm being too loud. It was like a funeral in there.
I'll just say that's allowed. Like if you're playing high stakes, you can be loud. That's fine.
It was like I was like, what you mean? Anyway. All that aside. It was a great time. All the people in the UK that the various fans and stuff that I met were super lovely as well. They were quite sweet. It was a genuinely good time. I would be very happy to go back. I think it would be a good time. I think London was actually quite fun. I didn't do any of the touristy stuff, but it was just fun to eat a lot of good food, take the trams, see some shit. It was solid.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's Bricky's adventure. Thanks for sticking with it as well.
Yeah.
Because this time we couldn't take a picture with a pint because schedules didn't line up. So you'll have to come back.
Yes, and you'll have to make some of your trip out my way as well. We'll meet halfway because you're a bit far.
Oh, what's halfway?
I don't know.
I did like that conversation. It's like, how close are you? I'm 3 hours. Okay, well.
that was a quick like, all right, got it.
Yeah.
Yep, that's not a thing unless you really keen.
Like, what was it last week where Kira was like, "Yeah, there was plans to have Bricky here, but
yeah. We had tentative plans, and then Google Maps got in the way because it was like you're going to be on the road for a long time."
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for welcoming me back, you three. We will be returning to the normal scheduled program next week. Yippee!
Yay!
And
welcome back, Bricky.
I have escaped the confines of England, and I have returned to America. Surely nothing has changed since I've been gone. Bye now.